Hey guys, welcome to my corner. As usual, we're going to do makeup and talk about mental health today. I'm a bit sleepy and groggy, so I had trouble coming up with a subject of my own. I asked some of my friends what they would like me to tackle, and they have given me a list. So the first new subject of mental health for this channel, we're going to tackle schizophrenia. Let's get to it, folks. No time like the present. Boom. So schizophrenia, I went ahead and looked this up on Google. If you don't know, Google will often pull up things to the right-hand side. And that is always from the Mayo Clinic. Whatever you see, it's kind of like light greenish, tealish color. It's from the Mayo Clinic, okay? So, schizophrenia. Sometimes it didn't do it today, okay. Sometimes when I look up a word, it tells me how to say the word too, but it didn't today. So, this is a quick little blurb from the Mayo Clinic. And the first tab we're going to look at is Overview, okay? Alrighty. As you know, while we talk about mental health, I do my makeup and try to get ready for the day. Sometimes the makeup doesn't work, but the mental health information is correct. That's what's important. So, let's get to it, shall we? Schizophrenia is a disorder that affects a person's ability to think, feel, and behave clearly. The exact cause of schizophrenia isn't known, but a combination of genetics, environment, and altered brain chemistry and structure may play a role. Okay. So, quick pause on mental health, real quick. I am using the Nyx Honeydew Primer. I don't use this very often because of the ooey gooey feeling that it has, but today, like me being so groggy, my sleep medication, it also has a cooling sensation. It's very refreshing. I decided to go ahead and use this to kind of wake up my face a little too. And it's working. As it dries, it becomes a little tacky. Just a side note. All right. Schizophrenia is characterized by thoughts or experiences that seem out of touch with reality, diagnosed speech or behavior, and decreased participation in daily activities. Difficulty with concentration and memory may also be present. Treatment is usually lifelong and often involves a combination of medications, psychotherapy, and coordinated specialty care services. So it's actually pretty common, guys, according to the Mayo Clinic, and they are one of the top health and mental health sources in the world. They have a hospital in, I believe, Boston. My geography sucks, so if I'm wrong on this, I'm really sorry. Treatment can help, but there is no cure. Can't be cured. So, like it says above, treatment is usually lifelong and involves meds and therapy. And depending on the severity and your specific symptoms, other specialty care may be needed. It is chronic, Typically, it's lifelong once it hits. Schizophrenia is not something you're always born with, and we can talk more about that later on in the video. And it does require a mental diagnosis. So one of the reasons I actually was happy that one of my friends brought this up is because it's used a lot in movies and media and portrayed kind of in this, like, you're beyond help. You're going to murder people and rape people. Not all schizophrenics are rapists, murderers, and just, shit people. That's not how it works. It also depends on you as a human, not just your diagnosis. That being said, if a schizophrenic person does have a crack in reality, they can become violent, but that doesn't mean that's necessarily the case. Okay? So as you can see, I clicked on the symptoms tab. So let's go over that a little bit. So it requires a medical diagnosis. Please don't WebMD your symptoms and go, oh my God, I'm schizophrenic. Not necessarily. Yours could be a hormonal thing. It could be literally anything. This is one that really needs care and diagnosis from a physician. Okay. Schizophrenia is characterized by thoughts or experiences that seem out of touch with reality, disorganized speech or behavior, and decreased participation in daily activities. Difficulty with concentration and memory may also be present. All right, guys. So when I first started trying to seek help for my mental health years and years and years ago, I looked at this and I like flipped out because I was like, do I have some of this? Because my room is always disorganized. My speech isn't always in a straight line. There's my behavior. I do try to keep things linear to help with myself, my anxieties and such, but it's not always the case. And I may be slightly slurry right now, and I'm so sorry. For whatever reason, my sleep medication last night when I took it, the effects haven't fully gone away. I haven't really been able to wake up. Okay? So, I'm not schizophrenic. I have been to many doctors. Schizophrenia is not something they have tried to pin on me. Okay? Also, if you feel like when you go to a doctor and your diagnosis is not correct, there's no shame in getting a second opinion, and I do highly recommend it. And also do your own research and homework before you do anything. Make sure you're comfortable with the treatment plan that makes sense for you. It's something that you can do, okay? People may experience, so it has different categories, guys. It has behavioral, cognitive, mood, psychological, and speech, okay? Behavioral is your actions. So you have social isolation, disorganized behavior, aggression, agitation, compulsive behavior, excitability, hostility, repetitive movements, self-harm, or lack of restraint. Okay, so these are physical actions that you do that are possible symptoms of schizophrenia. They are not all. You don't have to have all or none, or you can just have one of them. If you feel the need to hurt yourself, please reach out to other people. Myself, your friends, family, a doctor. I will look up some help for schizophrenia after this video and post it in the description box. There are always support groups for literally everything. Okay? You are not alone, and it's okay not to be okay. So cognitive, this is like your thoughts. This is stuff that goes on in this noggin. Right? You can have a thought disorder. Let me do that again. Thought disorder, delusion, amnesia, belief that an ordinary event has special and personal meaning, belief that thoughts aren't one's own, disorientation, mental confusion, slowness in activity, or false belief of superiority. So for me, personally, when I see all of these symptoms, I chalk it up to people who believe in conspiracy theories swallow that conspiracy theory, make it their own, and make that their life's mission. Okay, back in the day, this was portrayed in a lot of shows and movies as people who wore tin hats and thought aliens are real. Okay. Those were the most common conspiracy theorists back in the day. There's so many conspiracies now that it's just stupid. Let's just admit that real quick. There's theories about literally everything. We could go into this for like a whole series beyond mental health. But that's one form of the event having personal meaning. They think that aliens are speaking to them, or a higher power has chosen them to do this. Now, to relate this to common day things, let's take a step. There is a show on Fox that comes back on April 1st. No, it's not sponsored. I'm just a fan of the show. Okay. It's called Manifest. It literally speaks of schizophrenia. In a way. And you'll see. If you watch the show, it's about a family who was on a plane. Half the family goes on one plane, half the family goes on another because they found cheaper flights or whatever. You know, that shit's normal. They're coming back from vacation. One of the planes disappears for 5 years and they come back the fucking same. They haven't aged. And they start hearing things. Y'all. They start hearing things from a higher power. They believe they have a higher purpose now. The show is fascinating. But when I'm reading these symptoms, it seems like they may have schizophrenia. Just saying, my opinion. This should be season 2 or 3 that's coming back on Fox on April 1st. It is April Fool's Day, so hopefully they don't fool us. But as an exercise, go ahead and watch the show. Read a synopsis. Watch it on Hulu, Netflix, YouTube, whatever your fancy. Tell me if I'm wrong. Okay? Mood. Y'all, we all know what our moods are, but here are some moods that can show signs of schizophrenia. All right. Anger. Anxiety. Apathy. Feeling detached from self. General discontent. Loss of interest in activities. Loss of interest or pleasure in activities, elevated mood, or inappropriate emotional response. All right, let's talk about our moods real quick. Some of these are also symptoms of anxiety and depression. Like literally it says anxiety, okay? Anger. Anger is also commonly associated with bipolar and other severe mood disorders. Also, with anxiety, depending on you and your symptoms, you can often get random bursts of anger. Your anxiety builds up to the point where you feel like it's going to explode. Okay? That doesn't mean that you're bipolar. It doesn't mean that you have schizophrenia. You're angry. We all get angry. Now, I am confused about apathy because I have forgotten what that word means. And in order to help you, I have to help myself. So, let's go ahead and Google it. Okay, Google, what is the definition of apathy?
Here's the definition of apathy: lack of interest, enthusiasm, or concern.
You're not interested. You don't like things. You don't care about things. That's apathy. Cool. You're indifferent. We like that. It's a very good word to use. Okay, so back to schizophrenia. You get anger. You have anxiety. You just don't give two shits. You feel detached from yourself. General discontent. So you're frustrated with everything. Honestly, I feel like that could be a mood just for dealing with coronavirus. Y'all, we've been in lockdown for almost a year. Shit's insane. Okay. Elevated mood means your moods are like, whoa, whatever your mood is, whatever you're feeling, it is an extreme version of that, or an inappropriate emotional response. Now, I need to address something real quick. Many times, at least in the straight community, simple questions are taken inappropriately. Okay? And it becomes a thing, a meme. Like, that's what she said. Or it becomes a State Farm commercial. Hey, what are you wearing? Jake from State Farm. Khakis. Now, where did that come from? Let's speak about that real quick. That came from the locker room. Boys will be boys mentality. Chat rooms, dating sites. Hey, baby, what you wearing? Bitch, what does it matter what I'm wearing? If you're interested in me, you're interested in me. It's hearts, not parts, people. Hearts, not parts. Okay? So, there's that. Psychological. So, again, it has to do with your brain. But what is your brain now telling you? Your brain is showing you hallucinations, paranoia, you hear things, depression, fear, persecutory delusion, or religious delusion. When you hear on the news that someone thought everyone's out to get them, and things like that, where they're just like, oh my god, the world's out to get me, I'm gonna die, everyone wants to kill me, everyone wants to rape me, everyone wants to whatever me. Those are delusions, and they are persecutory delusions because they feel like everyone or everything is out to get them. They're often scared of them. Religion, there's absolutely nothing wrong with religion. Let me just say that real quick. If that is what you believe, that is what you believe. Okay? However, when people go off the deep end and believe that if they don't, for example, pray 15 times a day, that Jesus won't love them. If they don't do X, Y, and Z, they will have to lash like literally physically hit themselves, or they have to. Now, I've heard this one in more like serial killer type of situations, more Hollywoodish, but God told them to kill this person. That is a hallucination, that is hearing voices and religious delusion because they believe they are doing the bidding of a higher power. Higher powers do not tell you to cause harm to others. That is logic. Okay? So speech. How you doing? What comes out your mouth? Okay? Circumstantial speech. I don't know what that means. We're going to look that up. Okay, circumstantial speech, incoherent speech, which means you can't, no, other people can't understand what you're saying. Rapid and frenzied speaking. So someone starts talking really, really fast like this, and it really doesn't make any sense. This is called rapid or frenzied speech. I tend to talk fast, but if you think of an auctioneer, add some crack to it, you got this type of speech. I'm slightly making fun of it, and I'm sorry. I hope to not offend anybody. That's just, I use humor in my life to get through things, and mental health is heavy. So let's try to make light of it if we can, a little bit. All right. So, or a speech disorder. There are many speech disorders and impediments, and we can talk about that in other episodes, okay? Also, common symptoms are fatigue, impaired motor coordination, lack of emotional response, or memory loss. You'll see memory loss brought up in a lot of different mental health aspects. Because it's not just mental defects sometimes, it's also the medications to help with it can often cause memory loss, long-term or short-term. Some of the other effects that you can have are just, it just kind of depends on you. My memory loss is mainly from people beating my temples in. As I've been told before, I'm kind of like a medical miracle for standing up and being able to say what I say. I just think that someone has to do it, and if that's me, that's fine. I'm happy to share my experiences, no matter how shitty they are. If they can help somebody else, I'm cool. That's me. Not everyone is going to be able to do that, and I hope to help as many people as humanly possible. I guess I'll find it later. So, those are some of the symptoms of schizophrenia. Okay. So what are some possible treatment options? Oops, we forgot to look up a word. I am so sorry, guys. Circumstantial speech. What does that mean? Alrighty. Let's make this bigger so I can see it. Okay. Circumstantial speech, also known as circumstantiality. Well, that's a big fancy word. Is a speech pattern characterized by rambling, unnecessary comments, irrelevant details, So all of my videos are apparently this, but I'm just sharing my thoughts and opinions. Irrelevant details. Individuals exhibiting circumstantial speech have difficulty getting to the point. Their focus wanders to unnecessary topics or ideas. If you think that the things I add to these from my own experiences are unnecessary and you want me to get to the point more, just let me know and I will do my best to correct this. Mental health is a very broad thing, and I feel like bringing a personal touch to it kind of brings it to light and shows different aspects, not just technical medical stuff. But that's me. Okay. So what are some treatment options for schizophrenia? Okay, treatment is usually lifelong and often involves a combination of medication, psychotherapy, and coordinated, oh my god, I told you I'm super groggy today, sorry guys, specialty care services. So medications include antipsychotic and anti-tremor drugs. Often schizophrenics start to shake when they're in an episode. Not all the time, but I have personally seen people who are kind of on the fringe, let's just say, okay? You can also go to support groups, rehab, cognitive therapy, which is talking to a shrink. Psychoeducation, which is just educating yourself about the issue. Family therapy, behavior therapy, which is part of cognitive therapy. So when you talk to a shrink, there's two different types of therapy that they typically do with you. Cognitive is how to change your thoughts. Behavior is your actions. So often it starts with cognitive therapy, change your thoughts. This is often also used to help quit smoking and other drugs and alcohol. They start with cognitive therapy. That by itself will change your behaviors. When you start to think different, you act different, and that's just how it is, okay? And group psychotherapy, so you can talk in a group about this. With your family, by yourself. You can go to rehab. There's a lot of options, okay? Sadly, I don't think that most therapy options include bringing your friends. So if you are closer to your friends than your family and you think that their friends will help you more, definitely talk to your doctor about that, okay? Antipsychotic is simply, well, psychotic behaviors are associated with schizophrenia. And any other mood disorder, anxiety and depression, PTSD, they all fall under mood disorders, okay? There's just different ends of the spectrum. And it's a huge, huge spectrum, guys. Okay. So what medications are there out there? There's antipsychotic drugs. They reduce or improve symptoms of certain psychiatric conditions. And there's anti-tremor drugs that help control tremors, shaking, and unsteadiness. So some of the common medications for schizophrenia are, good Lord. All right, excuse me if I completely butcher these names, but I will try for you. Okay. Prochlorperazine. By the way, these are the actual scientific names of the medications, not the Zolofts and stuff that you see on the market. Those are the common names that have been given to the drugs. So people can pronounce it, know what the hell they're taking. Okay, these are the ones that the scientists have dubbed these medications. Chlorperazine, it treats nausea and vomiting, and it can also treat anxiety and schizophrenia. Olanzapine, okay, it can treat mental disorders, including schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. Thioridazine, it treats schizophrenia. Flufenazine, good lord, for schizophrenia. Reserpine, it can treat high blood pressure and other conditions. Risperidone, it treats schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and irritability caused by autism. I have seen personally people on risperidone with really horrible side effects. The most commonly associated irritability, I see it a lot with Asperger's, and I'm probably saying it wrong, please excuse me. But a lot of people with Asperger's are high functioning. I don't know if that is politically correct or not anymore. But again, I can only speak from personal experience. Haloperidol, also something I've seen a lot of people on with not so great side effects. So all medications have potential side effects. Each individual, how they deal with those side effects, or if they get them or not, is going to be different. But please do your homework and know, and so that you know if the risks outweigh the benefits. That's really all I can say. Okay. Let's look at some of the anti-tremor medications. The only one they say is benztropine. It helps with Parkinson's. Well, that's kind of swanky. I actually have a couple of friends who have Parkinson's. Okay, so what are some therapies they may give you or your friends or family? And again, this is all through the Mayo Clinic. I'm not pulling this shit out my ass, all right? Support groups. A forum for counseling and sharing experiences amongst people with similar conditions or goals, such as depression or weight loss. By the way, Facebook literally has groups, and I mean thousands and thousands of groups on each subject. Okay. So you can literally go to the groups tab on Facebook and put in schizophrenia support. You'll find so many, it'll make your head spin. So if you are still on lockdown or you just want to do some stuff online, you don't necessarily want to go in person, Facebook groups is a great tool. Okay. Rehab. They try to make me go to rehab, and I said no. Sorry, music is life, and talking about rehab so much has made me think of Amy Winehouse and Rihanna. Gotta take me to rehab, baby, you're my disease. Gotta take me to rehab, 'cause you're my disease. You can be addicted to a person. Let me tell you about that. Another story time. Whole nother story time. Okay. What is rehab? In rehab, they retrain your brain's pathways to improve mental and physical functioning after an illness or injury. For example, a blow to the head or a concussion. So rehab is not just where druggies go. to get clean. It's a very, very common misconception, and we can thank media to that. Shows, movies. That's the only type of rehab they talk about, is getting clean off of drugs and alcohol. It's real. It is a thing. It is horrible, and it is addiction is something where rehab is a great tool. Is it the only tool? Absolutely fucking not. It is a great tool. There are so many other tools out there. For some people, rehab is their last recourse. And their only hope of getting clean. And it works. And I'm not knocking rehab. But there are other forms of rehab other than just drug and alcohol addiction. People also go to rehab and they're not in the same building. Okay, there are different kinds of rehab facilities. Let's be clear. I know people who have gone to rehab after knee surgeries because where they are living or situated cannot. It's not a safe environment for them. It may have a lot of stairs, things like that they can't necessarily maneuver during recovery. Maybe they live alone and it requires extra help. There's lots of reasons to go to rehab that is not related to drugs and alcohol. There's also mental health rehabilitation centers. And there's no shame in going to a rehab or seeking outside help. There's also cognitive therapy, which is your basic going to a therapist, where it's talk therapy. Why did it just, I don't know why it just did that. I didn't click on anything. Okay. Talk therapy that focuses on replacing negative, distorted thoughts with positive and accurate ones. There's psychoeducation, education about mental health that also serves to support, validate, and empower patients. Oftentimes, those of us who do suffer from mental health diseases, defects, or disorders, we feel like no one understands. Often when we try to seek help, we are invalidated and told to just get over it. God, I hate that one. Because if it was really that simple, anyways. And we don't know how to speak up for ourselves without sounding off the alarm that we are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and maybe we need to go to a loony bin. A lot of times people don't believe or want to believe that their loved ones have a mental issue. They want to believe everything's okay. And that's normal. Denial is usually the first thing. But it doesn't help or solve anything. So if y'all are wondering what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to find a specific brush. Because my makeup's doing some funky ass shit. Now my room is super hot and I have really, really bad allergies. So my makeup melts and it runs because of me. Okay? Alright. There's family therapy. Don't be afraid to speak for yourself and speak up. If you feel like something is wrong, find someone you trust and talk about it. It doesn't have to be like, hey, I think something's fucked up. It can be like you write a song about it. It can be you draw a picture about it. It can be literally however you want to express it. Express someone, get the help that you need. So this is to help with families, resolving conflicts. Oh my God, it thinks I'm clicking on it. I'm not. There is behavior therapy. Therapy focused on modifying harmful behaviors associated with psychological distress. Again, this is not just for schizophrenia. It's used for all sorts of things, from addiction to anxiety to, I mean, you name it, they use it. Even something as commonplace as quitting smoking, which is an addiction. There's group psychotherapy, where you can work in a group and kind of do like a roundhouse kumbaya circle. If that's what you need, it's available. I should mention that a lot of the groups on Facebook are not run by, authorized by, or used by therapists. Therapists do not use them. Could there be some? Yes, but these are mainly regular old folks like you and me who want to find a community where they can get better and be understood in. Okay? And also, it's usually not by your insurance, so because it's free, this is not something you would tell your Blue Cross Blue Shield or Anthem, whatever, Cigna, United, whatever about. You're doing this on your own, and that is perfectly okay. So what type of specialists are there? There's a psychiatrist. They give you happy pills. They give you mood stabilizers and other medications like antipsychotic pills to help with your symptoms. There's a clinical psychologist. These are the ones who do the, and how does that make you feel? Talk therapy. Okay. What are the most common ones? With schizophrenia. I can drop the link to the Mayo Clinic in the description box. I will also try to look up some hotlines, tip lines for you. As usual, you know, mental health sucks in this country, and it has sucked for a very long time. I hope that these videos help you. They help me understand more for sure. They will not solve anyone's mental health problems. I'm not here for that. I am not a licensed anything. I'm just a human who deals with her own shit and wants to help everyone else as much as she can during her lifetime. So, schizophrenia is very, 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 very common. Let's go ahead and ask Google one more question. Okay, Google, is schizophrenia hereditary? Oh, that didn't catch it. Okay. Okay, Google, is schizophrenia hereditary?
According to NHS genetics, schizophrenia tends to run in families, but no single gene is thought to be responsible. It's more likely that different combinations of genes make people more vulnerable to the condition. However, having these genes does not necessarily mean you'll develop schizophrenia.
So, what does that mean? Maybe. Hereditary means that it runs in the family, and that because previous generations have had it, you definitely will. So this is saying that that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. It's a combination of things, and there's really no way to know as of right now. Okay. Okay, Google, at what age do people typically display? Okay, Google, at what age do people typically display symptoms? Why is
Here's a summary from AARP blogs. Older diners are more consistently generous tippers. Most of those age 65 and over said they always tip between 15 and 20%.
Okay, Google, at what age do people typically display?
Here's a summary from
so
AARP
hold on,
blogs.
guys, sorry.
Older diners are more consistently generous tippers. Most of those age 65 and over said they always tip between 15 and 20%. More than half of diners age 55 plus said they typically leave 20%.
So I'm asking Google for the 100th time. At what age do people typically show symptoms of schizophrenia? Schizophrenia symptoms generally start in the mid to late 20s. It is uncommon for children to be diagnosed with schizophrenia. Early onset schizophrenia occurs before the age of 18. Very early onset of schizophrenia in children younger than 13 is extremely rare. Okay, so let's ask one more question. Wow. Well, it's okay, so my question was, does schizophrenia affect men or women more? Several studies indicate that the incidence of schizophrenia is higher in men. Most of the studies found that the age of onset is to be earlier in men than women. Findings on symptoms are less conclusive, when some authors suggesting that men suffer more negative symptoms while women have more affective symptoms. So it is more common in men. If you're wondering if this one is a racially or gender thing, it can be a gender thing for men. It tends to lean that way. They tend to get it a little earlier in life than women. Negatives. I'm not sure what that last sentence means. To be honest, I have no flippin' clue what that means. But it doesn't sound good for the guys. That's what I can say. So why is it more common in men? Social, cognitive, and functional deficits are also related to increased expression of negative symptoms observed in men. Additionally, these factors are associated with reduced social network size and lower marriage rates in men with schizophrenia. So that kind of tells me that more women are more functional with their mental disease being schizophrenia. They tend to get married more. But I still don't fully understand this. So we may deep dive into schizophrenia more on a different episode. That's all I have for today. Stay safe, stay beautiful, and it's okay not to be okay. Really hope these videos help. If nothing else, your understanding of schizophrenia today. Okay? Have a beautiful and blessed day. Stay safe. Stay beautiful. And I will see you next time. Bye.